Kate Jeanne is a legal aid and game designer in Washington, D.C., participating in Zine Quest, an annual event where designers of all types create and kickstart limited print-run compact RPGs. As a dedicated fan of tabletop RPGs, Kate is hoping her own game, Winter Harvest, where players are woodland animals using the power of community, food, and memories to thrive throughout 4 seasons, will be her first published design. And because I'm a fan and supporter of Zine Quest, Forest Critters, and Creative Gamers, I've asked Kate to come on to the Cardboard Herald and tell us about her 3 favorite indie RPGs.
Hi there, I'm Kate Jeanne. I'm the designer for Winter Harvest, a Zine Quest tabletop role-playing game that is currently live on Kickstarter. I'm here today to talk to you about 3 of my favorite role-playing game systems that have unconventional mechanics. Specifically, we're going to talk about 1 or 2 mechanics from each of these 3 games, and how those slightly unique mechanics will influence character decisions and narrative aspects of the game, so that they further the actual themes. So all 3 of these are indie games. I'm going to dive right in with Masks of the Mummy King. This is by Nathan Paoletta. It came out a couple years ago. The concept of the game is that everyone is looting a temple, and every player has powers that are given to them by a deity. So you go in with 2 different halves of masks from different gods, and you will act as their avatar when you want to call upon the god's powers. There's some charming and fantastic art on all of the masks that really gives the game a lot of flavor. And one of the cool things is that when you get loot, so when you find a treasure within the temple, you can actually acquire a new mask. So that one person in the party could switch things up. They could take half of their powers and throw them out, and then get new powers from a different deity. So if I started off being empowered by the Ibis god, but then later on decide I would rather be empowered by the Thief god, I could be either marking my victory or a change in personality that I wanted to show with my character. The other aspect of this is that there's much more emotional impact to a prize that will change the rest of your play than simply saying, hey, you got some gold, good job. The use of these demigod powers as the base of your characters when you're choosing these 2 masks as your first part of building a character feeds into the Indiana Jones feel of the game itself, because it leads to a lot of people creating larger than life characters, so that you actually do feel like there's a team of very kind of punchy ne'er-do-wells going into this abandoned tomb. The second game that I want to talk about is called Halls of Lamarr. This is a recent release with the San Gennaro Short Games Digest by Liam Ginty of Sandy Pug Games. The goal of Halls of Lamarr is to piece together a breaking heart by taking on fortresses that have aspects of personalities and priorities from each different player themselves. In the universe of Halls of Lamarr, the different realms of waking and dreaming have collided and started to overlap with each other. There are 2 mechanics here that are very cool. So one is there's a dual GM system where one GM controls the realm of the waking and the other GM controls the realm of the dreaming. So no one GM has all of the knowledge or information going on in the game. If somebody dies, which is supposed to happen often, they will revive to the realm of the dreaming and face an abstracted puzzle or challenge. If you can get through that challenge, then you will have special abilities or powers in the realm of the dreaming that actually let you take control of a scene or create new items. The players themselves can start taking on these powers that look almost GM-like through facing these challenges. There's another aspect of the game, slight spoiler here, that plays into this atmosphere of mystery and esoterica. So there is fake angelic text throughout the game itself that players can decode and find that there's an entirely separate path you can take through the game, with new objectives and new rules. So players have this choice. Do we want to go below the surface level and crack the code to find out another way to play this game entirely? The way that this translates over into the themes of the game is by evoking something that you see in the video game Bloodborne, where there's this kind of confusion about why is the world the way that it is. In fact, one of the GMs might even find themselves kind of befuddled by this world that's around them, that's being, that's got these 2 realms bleeding into each other, and all of these mysteries at play. The aspect about the code that can be broken to find a totally different path where players can say, actually, we're going to evolve this game completely. The third game here, which has a totally different vibe, is Dogs in the Vineyard, which is written by D. Vincent Baker of Lumpley Games. The Dogs in the Vineyard system is self-described as role-playing God's watchdogs in a West that never was. Dogs, or kind of hyper-religious paladins who are supposed to travel from town to town and deliver mail, will face these choices of if you should rain down judgment on the wicked or offer mercy to a sinner. The mechanic that sets apart Dogs in the Vineyard is a dice bidding system. So during a conflict, if you think, oh, we're fighting with words and I'm about to lose, you can escalate the conflict to gain more dice and try and get the upper hand over your opponent. The effect of this is kind of a poker system, where I'm constantly trying to anticipate my opponent's move. Are they about to escalate? If they're not inclined to escalate, maybe I shouldn't either. So I'm trying to guess what their next move will be and see if I can possibly have more dice around to spend than they will, including by bluffing with emotions. The effect of this dice bidding system is that as you progress through stages of a conflict, it actually becomes scary to escalate. It's pretty rare to just jump straight into violence. Often you will be engaging in violence when words have failed you. So the game encourages you to second guess yourself and be thinking, did I really need to go there? Did I need to draw my gun? The reason that this plays into the narrative and the themes of the game is that as this paladin traveling from city to city, yes, you are empowered by the authorities to shoot someone, but that doesn't mean that you should feel good about it. And we know that within the Wild West tropes, the gunslinger character is often someone who is deeply conflicted or even feels guilty about conflicts that they've had in the past. So the second guessing and the tension of the escalation and the dice bidding actually recreates some of that feeling that the designers want to happen within the characters. So each of these three games, like I said, has some kind of quirky, kind of unusual things, and the very cool thing is that they all play into different themes that the designers wanted to emphasize, to create a mood, to drive certain player choices. My own game, Winter Harvest, is a small, compact tabletop role-playing game that takes place over 4 sessions, where players are woodland creatures using the power of community and food and memories to survive the turning seasons. The game concludes with a midwinter feast that happens both in real life as well as in the game. The game itself has some interesting mechanics, I hope, such as having a fluid storyteller role. No one player will remain as the GM or the MC. Every player will rotate and take turns being the librarian, who records lore, because invoking the power of oral history or memories is one of the biggest things you can use to change the face of the world and what is happening in a scene. If players do not invoke that power of memories, they can use it to physically change the structure of their home at the end of each session so that the home is better prepared for winter. The other way that roles are fluid is that players are actually encouraged to take on different characters every single season if they want to, as we meet different people who have different professions and skills within this compact society of interdependent people. The project is not just me, we have an amazing artist who's making some really charming ink art of animals, and as I said, Zine Quest 2020 is a really great opportunity to boost up a whole cohort of independent creators, many of whom are branching out for the first time, like I am, into making a full game from scratch. I am really excited to be part of Zine Quest and also thankful to be invited to the show. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching.
If you enjoyed this video, we have all kinds of other reviews, interviews, and recommendations via writing, podcasts, and video here on our channel and website cardboardherald.com. Our content is audience supported, so if you want to show your support, please visit our Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Cardboard Herald.